I'm joined here with Constable Kelsey DeVidge, and we're going to be chatting about some safety tips coming up for the winter here. So obviously, change of season, you know, it's getting cold outside, snow's going to start flying soon, so there's kind of some unique things that people should be aware of going forward. So what are kind of some like crime prevention tips that people can, you know, keep in mind at this time of year, you know, when they're locking up seasonal properties, things like that, you know, what can they do to make your job easier?
Yeah, so again, as those cottages and cabins are getting closed, we have a couple tips here today that we're recommending people try out to ensure property safety, right? And to deter those property crimes. Some things that we are suggesting is obviously locking those doors and windows, double checking that, and ensuring any sheds or boat launches or anything like that is outside is locked up as well. Another thing we always say is, especially during the winter months, is clearing that snow. If you can, make it look like someone's in that residence, cabin, cottage. It's a lot better of a deterrent than looking like no one's there, right? Other things we also recommend is we always see a lot of ATVs or off-highway vehicles being stolen. So another thing we can ensure that that doesn't happen is physically blocking that ATV in, even taking the gas out of it or disconnecting a battery, or physically removing it off kind of a driveway where it's hidden where you may not be able to see it. Another thing we recommend is if you do have those things that are stored outside on your property, is making sure you know those VIN numbers, right? Those identification numbers that if we were to be called to your property and it would be taken, we'd be able to verify that it is somewhere or to ensure that that object is yours, right? Yeah.
Perfect. So it sounds like a lot of this is kind of just, you know, common sense, making sure that things are put away and, you know, keeping things out of sight and out of mind, because obviously a lot of these crimes seem to be, you know, crimes of opportunity, which is kind of a good lead into my next question, which I was going to ask you. You know, what kind of crimes go up or down during the season? You know, obviously it's cold outside, so I would assume that, you know, crimes of opportunity might go down this time of year just because there might not be people walking down the street, you know, looking in people's yards, things like that. Can you kind of give us your perspective on that?
Yeah, I'd agree. Those crimes of opportunity do go down a slight bit as we don't have that kind of increased traffic like we would in the summertime. We do see still those break-and enters, though. Maybe someone is looking somewhere to stay for the night, whether that be a business or residence. So we do see a higher increase in that. But overall, for 2023, we've actually seen a decrease in break-and enters or to property crime for this year, which is great.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful. Yeah. So just on that similar topic, is there anything that you would suggest for people in town here, you know, just with the coming seasons to kind of prevent things like that, you know? Any sort of tips you have for us?
Yeah, also as people start heating up those vehicles to get ready for work, never leave your vehicle running with the keys in it, right, and unlocked. That's that crime of opportunity we do see an increase in the winter, is people leaving their vehicles unlocked with the keys running. Obviously, someone could jump in and easily take that vehicle, right? So use that remote starter or lock the vehicle if you're going to do that. We also are seeing people leaving their wallets in vehicles, right? So if that's something that's out in plain view, you could make sure that's taken inside with you at the end of the night, and don't be leaving those identification or financials or wallets in your vehicle.
Perfect. So once again, it just seems kind of like common sense type stuff, you know, really just making sure that you're not leaving things out for thieves to get a hold of. Perfect. So, and one last question I have for you. What are kind of some unique challenges that the RCMP, you know, constables like yourself might face during the cold months? You know, I know the roads get, you know, pretty icy, snowy out this time of year. So what kind of things do you guys face? Yeah,
again, just as winter comes around, just bear with us here with driving. We do see an increase in traffic accidents as just roads are bad, and sometimes those conditions, we have no factor in that, and that it is what it is, right? So be patient with us, or be patient with us if we're out doing traffic control, right? It's cold, so yeah, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Just be careful when driving during this winter season.
100%. So that's a great reminder to everybody to just make sure to drive safe this winter season. The snow's going to be flying soon enough. The roads are going to be icy. And in order to keep everybody safe and our RCMP officers out when they're on calls and such like that, everybody make sure to drive as safely as possible. Well, that's all the time we have for today, but I want to thank you so much for stopping by and chatting with us today, Constable.
Thank you so much for having me.